Good evening. Recently, a pretty interesting Half-Life 2 mod called Lost and Damned came out, and I think you should know about it. The first thing Lost and Damned brings to mind, at least for me, is the GTA 4 DLC of the same name. But this mod is actually nothing like GTA at all. It's basically a survival horror game a la Resident Evil, complete with isometric camera angles, tank controls, and even an inventory system. Visually, it makes use of extremely authentic early Source engine aesthetics. You know, stock Counter-Strike Source and Half-Life 2 models. Some people might not like this, but I personally adore it, and it's one of the main reasons I gave this mod a shot in the first place. And it certainly didn't disappoint me in being an interesting, cool, and nostalgic experience. So let me tell you about it. First, the story. In Lost and Damned, you play as this guy who wakes up after some kind of helicopter crash and can't remember anything about who he is or how he got there. The game doesn't give him a name, but since his character model is Malo 2, I took a liking to calling him Ted. As Ted plunges deeper into this creepy mansion he's accidentally crashed into, he's faced with all kinds of spooky zombies he has to swiftly disperse if he wants any chance at making his way out of here alive. Or slowly disperse. Seriously, this pistol is slow as shit. But anyway, Ted later winds up in these cool industrial corridors in some kind of facility, and the story loosely ties back into Half-Life lore by invoking Black Mesa right at the end. As you might expect, just like the Resident Evil games, the story ends with our protagonist radioing for help and making his escape via helicopter. Simple stuff. So, how's about that gameplay? Well, just like the original Resident Evil games, the movement and actions are clunky as hell. They're about as bad as you'd probably expect for tank controls, though I'd be lying if I said I wasn't charmed by the novelty of playing a Source game that's not an FPS. With item-based puzzles and inventory management, it obviously plays nothing like your average Half-Life 2 mod, and that made the whole experience pretty memorable. Thankfully, the shooting mechanics seem to include some pretty heavy aim assist, otherwise this game might be nearly impossible for me. But overall, I enjoyed the gameplay despite a couple of rough snags and bugs, and I would honestly be interested in seeing more Source mods in this style in the future, maybe even a sequel. To wrap things up, here are my final thoughts. For the first half of the game, I thought the environments and atmosphere were absolutely wonderful. As a Source engine nerd, I was super happy exploring these creepy new environments, recognizing texture sets and design influences along the way. However, there's two segments of the game where you have to navigate these dark, maze-like corridors while fighting zombies, and they're just not very fun in my opinion. Even worse, after these mazes, the levels start getting brighter, and I feel like the atmosphere falls off a bit. While I thought the inventory management system was fine, the design itself really irked me. I get what the dev was going for with this PS1 type visual design, but it really just doesn't fit in with the rest of the Source engine assets. And I feel like making the UI more Half-Life 2-esque would have made the whole game feel a bit more cohesive. There's two boss fights in this game, and I didn't really care for either of them. They were sort of tedious. I would definitely say that those, plus the dark mazes, make up the weakest parts of this mod, which is a shame because you'd probably expect them to be the most exciting. I liked our main character's generic face and lack of a name, but I also wish his outfit was a little more memorable. Maybe you could try giving him a cool coat, like this one from the Half-Life 2 leak. My final critique is that I thought the mod also ended a little abruptly, especially after such an underwhelming boss fight. For the record, I actually haven't played any of the Resident Evil games other than 4, so I probably missed a lot of the references that aren't the Snake Eater ladder. But overall though, I really liked the vibe that Lost and Damned carries. It brought me back to the early days of Half-Life 2 modding where people weren't as obsessed with making their projects look as modern as possible with crazy color correction and hunt down the Freeman-looking models, and instead just wanted to test the engine's capabilities in making cool gameplay and cool environments. It may have some rough patches, but I'd say it's worth checking out sometime if you're a cool gamer guy who has a lot of sex such as myself. Alright, thanks for watching. Join my Discord server if you haven't already. I've got some big things planned in there. The link to the mod will be in the description. Go check it out sometime if you get the chance. See ya.